So, what happened when an exception is taking place? So, let's see, from this example execution, let's say my program run method 1, and method 1 calls method 2, method 2 calls method 3, method 3 calls method 4, and method 4 executes some code. Okay? So, what happened is, well, when method 1 is called by main, then your memory is organized such that a call stack in your machine's memory will create what we call a frame for storing information specific to method 1 or information that only method 1 can see. Alright, you create it inside a call stack as a frame. Alright, and method 1 then call method 2. Alright, and that will cause your call stack to create a frame for method 2 without destroying method 1. Alright, the frame will not be destroyed unless the method that owns the frame finishes its execution. Okay, and next is method 2 calling method 3. So, there will be a frame for method 3. And the same for method 4. Right? But here, let's say, in method 4, right, there should be a frame for method 4 here as well. Right? Let's say, in method 4, an exception takes place. So an exception will cause method 4 to exit. And when method 4 exits, well, it ends its execution right where the exception takes place. Alright? Method 4 may have 5 lines. But if the exception takes place at line number 3, then line number 4 and 5 will not be run. Okay? And method 4 will end there. And it will exit. And the frame for method 4 will be destroyed. Alright, since it has created exception inside, method 4 will pass exception to its caller. So in fact, it will pass an exception to method 3. Right, method 4. If it has the code to handle exception, it will, well, if that's a yes, then it catches the exception and handle that exception. But if we don't have the code to handle the exception in method 4 exits and its frame gets destroyed and the exception object gets passed on to method 3. And so, your system must check if method 3 has exception handler. If so, it executes the exception handler. And if not, method 3 will exit. And exception passed to method 2. And so on, you see? So by this time, method 3 stack must have been destroyed. Alright, it's not shown here. So it's passed to method 2. In executing method 2, your system must detect if method 2 can handle the exception. If yes, it catch the exception, handle it, and continue running, which will see which point it will continue running. Alright, we'll see later. Alright? But if there's no code to handle exception in method 2, then method 2 exits. And the frame should be destroyed as well. And the exception gets passed on to method 1. And again, the system must check if method 1 has something to handle the exception. If yes, it executes that handler. Alright? But if not, then the exception gets passed to the main method. Alright? And if the main method has something to handle exception, then it executes that handler. If not, it passes the exception from main to the system or to the Java virtual machine. And the Java virtual machine will print the error message and then stop the execution. Alright, so that's what happened